Yeah, I should have asked if this meeting was being recorded. Apparently it is. All right, we all have the agenda in front of you. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda is circulated? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Moved by Lauren, seconded by Sherry. Motion on the floor to approve the agenda is circulated. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried unanimously. All right, if there's any declarations of conflict of interest, please, anyone that would have one, please speak up, and we'll move on to presentations from Royal Salmon. I see we have Brian and Andre
Yes.
and
Yes.
Christian.
Yeah, and probably Ignacio will join us also.
All right, so what I'm going to do, you have roughly 10 minutes. I'm going to turn the floor over to who would ever like to speak.
Okay, let me, and I can do use the presentation.
Yep.
Let me know if it's working.
It's working. I can see
Okay.
it anyway.
Okay, first of all,
I
we want
can't
to thank
do it.
the yeah. First of all, we want to thank the opportunity and let you know who are on the call from our side. First, as you mentioned, is Brian Sonier, our Canadian partner that you know quite well. And also we have in Florida at this point, Andres Bertens, who is a partner of the project, and Ignacio Barone, who is in Puerto Montt in the south of Chile, and myself, I'm Cristian Bulnes, I'm based in Santiago. So thank you very much for giving us the chance to present this project to you. We are quite excited about this project. We have been working in it for almost 3 years already. The first time that part of the team visited Chevok Point was almost 2.5 years ago. We got in love with the site that we finally purchased. So it has been quite difficult given the COVID that all the world is facing, but we have been able to move forward. As you know, this project has already been presented to the province authorities, and we had also the chance to talk with part of the Yarmouth authorities in the past. So I will go now to the project itself. So thank you very much for the opportunity. First, why we are here, why these Chileans and these Canadians are presenting this opportunity to you, and I will let you know who are the people behind it. First, we are a group of people. We have quite a lot of agricultural experience with a firm already working in Chile for many years, and also in hydropower experience that you will know in the way that we do the project. We need to move a lot of water and we use a lot of power, so that our partners, Andres Bertens, who is in the call, is the shareholder and partner in both of those firms, Aquafarm and AMPAC. And also is because the net pen farming in Chile is increasingly difficult, and that's not a reality only for Chile, it's happening worldwide. They're having many difficulties for that. And also the fact that we are from the south of Chile, and now the last net perm have been located in Punta Arenas in Magellan Strait. That is 11,000 kilometers from the consumer market in the east coast of America. So it's difficult, and also it combined with the next point, the environmental awareness, the impact of bringing those fishes to the north is quite significant. It's a lot of done by airplanes, so that we think that will continue changing, and that's for the reason that why we are here, and we are convinced that the salmon demand will continue growing in the world. So why Nova Scotia? Why, if we have all these problems, why we went to Nova Scotia? Why we are talking to you? Because first, Nova Scotia have a tremendous reputation in terms of the fishing agriculture history. It's something that is recognized worldwide, and we want to take advantage of the opportunity of learning from that and also participate in that kind of knowledge. Second, we want to develop a business where the regulations and the environments and the laws work, and that's something that Nova Scotia and Canada bring into us. So that's why we decided to go to Canada. We evaluate alternatives in Central America, and we decided that no, we should go to something more clear in terms of regulation and also the concern for the environment, and that's bring us Canada to our decision. Also because we know that we will find qualified workings, and that this fishing background that we mentioned before, those workings will be ready to develop a project like the one that we're presenting. And also it's because we will talk today about our first site, and we have choose Chevrolet Point and Yarmouth County in order to do that. But we think that we want to develop at least 4 to 5 sites over time in Canada. And we decide to go for the one that we like most before. And also we need to mention that it obviously is quite important that we are quite close to the consumption market that we are targeting, Canada and United States. What is our project? What is we are bringing here today to you is a land-based flow-through system. You have been hearing a lot about RAS, that is another kind of land-based project. Our project is quite important in the way that it is developed, because we have our major concern is the environmental impact. How we will provide a product that is really will be acceptable by the consumers now and forever. I mean, because we think that we are developing is something that is addressing some of the major issues that the salmon farming are being criticized, and we are addressing all these challenges, and I think we are bringing solutions for most of them. So we will develop a project that is seawater and energy intensive with specialized huge tanks and with state-of-the-art technologies. What we are trying to achieve with that, we are trying to minimize the environmental impact with a controlled production environment. What is key today, and it's something that you have in Canada suffering a lot, is the escapes of salmon that is also happening in Chile, in different parts of Chile, in the Patagonia, and also in the very south on the Strait of Magellan. And our project, it's avoid completely the possibility of any escape from our cages. So that's something that we are really, is quite important for us and major in our project. Second is to optimize the disease control. We cannot say that we will not have any kind of disease, because first we are bringing eggs that we never know 100% that they cannot have any kind of disease, but we are minimizing as much as possible the possibility, and also we have a controlled environment to solve any kind of situation if it can arise, but as I mentioned, it shouldn't happen, everything. The fourth point is all the waste that we will produce will be retained in our project, and we will take clean water from the ocean and return clean water to the ocean. That's quite important to minimize any kind of impact in the sea coast of Nova Scotia on the Yarmouth County. We also, our project, this particular plan, we estimate that we will have more or less 40 people working in this project once it is built. Obviously, during the building process will be much more people working, but going forward, we'll bring at least 40 work jobs for Yarmouth. And that's quite important for us. And in that sense, from the beginning, from the first meeting that we have with the Yarmouth authorities, we said that for us, it's key to establish a very close relationship with the community, with the authorities. We had been trying, and hopefully we haven't achieved it, to be quite straightforward of being able to answer any question that you have or being available for any presentation. The last thing that we had before the COVID lockdowns happened, it was a trip that we lose. We were 3 of us going there to talk with the authorities, and we look forward to that trip to happen the soon that is possible in Canada. We know that still you have the 2 weeks lockdown in a hotel. Same thing in Chile, so we understand what is going on there. but we want to be able to talk with the community, with the authorities in person, the sooner the better. And also in between, to try to be as quite as open in terms of showing how our project is built, showing all the benefits of it. And the last thing that I mentioned is we are looking to supply with our products, our environmental products, to the East Coast of the United States and also the Canadian market in the East Coast. Then we have the project itself. I don't know how much you want to know or how you want that to be addressed. The thing that I just want to mention before opening to question and offer you to go deeper in any of the point is to mention what is the situation right now in our sites in Chevron Point. We already purchased the land. It was a decision to be quite committed to with the authorities and everything that we decided to purchase. And after purchase, going with the project. But as you know, let me see where is here. Here. We have a situation where the site that we bought is considered a rural area and it cannot be used today for industrial development or business development. So that's what we are asking you the support in order to change the use of our land in order to develop this project that I have been mentioning to you. For that, we have been working with authorities there, submitting information. We have an issue also that is quite relevant for you, that we have a wetland in the south of the pond. It's a wetland with not much or nothing, as we know, in terms of wildlife there. But we are working with a Canadian, a local consultant there in order to see how we can solve the situation in order to measure the impact and if their impact in order to compensate that impact in the way that the Nova Scotia regulation requires. So more or less that's where we are. I want to open you to any kind of question or any issue that you want to go deeper regarding what I just mentioned to you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Could I have the full screen back so I can see everybody?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, who's there? Any questions? Lauren, then Patty. So Lauren, you have the floor first, then Patty. It's the two that I've seen. Go ahead,
Okay.
Lauren.
Thank you for the presentation. It sounds like a very interesting and energetic project that you're speaking of here. You know, if approval is given to start, what time frame are you looking for from shovel in the ground to completion to start harvesting? What are you looking at for timeline?
We have to get your approval, and also we are in parallel working with the province authorities and federal authorities to the application for the license to the aquaculture in Canada. If that happens during the third quarter, we will initiate our project there. So in terms of timing, what we are mentioning, let me see if I have it here, is to start working on the third quarter of 2021. COVID it could be an issue,
yeah.
but it will be at the end, either the third quarter or the fourth quarter of this year. And in terms of putting the first molds on the water, it will be on the third quarter of the next year. So in order to put fishes on the ground, we have to have the site already built. And in terms of start selling, if everything goes as planned, we are assuming that we will be, let me check it here in order not to, it's on the third quarter of 2024.
Third quarter of 2024?
Yep.
that
Those
you'll be
will be
actually
the
producing
first
salmon.
harvest on the site.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. So it's, yeah, it's quite an ambitious timeline to do that because it's quite a project you're
Absolutely.
doing, right? So,
Yeah, one
so
of
your
the issues-
salmon, are they started from the small, are they started from the small ones and you grow them, or is that what you do?
one of the decisions that we have, we will purchase the eggs there. We have negotiating already with some firms in Canada in order to do that. And we have to decide if we will do the small period from the egg to the 200 grams salmon, either in the
Yeah.
site or we are also negotiating with existing hatcheries in Canada or with some provider who can be able to provide us the small. But what we are presenting here is the growth phase. That's something quite
That's your
different.
phase, yeah.
The business that we
Yeah.
have in Chile, and Andres can give you more flavor on that, is we are in the small business. We have a hatcheries in Chile, but the idea here is to initially start from the growth, but we obviously need to grow those fishes before. If we do, we will do it in the site or in elsewhere. Is something we will be defining regarding after the feedback from authorities, your feedback, and is something that we have to decide yet.
Yeah, good. Thank you. You know, I hope your project goes ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Patty, then Trevor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Christian. Why is it getting increasingly difficult to have the salmon farming in Chile?
Same worldwide. It's an issue with that because in Chile it's nets. It's not land-based. Doing a land-based in Chile will not make sense at all because normally land-based are located close to the consumer market. And the impact that we are realizing that the net perch farming is doing in environment is something that the world is changing, is not accepting in that sense. Also, they are, given the concern how the business developed, there are less licenses in order to open new net pens or locate new net pens in Chile, as probably in Canada and elsewhere. So it's an environmental concern. Is that the market is changing, the consumer is market, and it's something that we also share. I mean, we want to be. We have been in the industry for a long time, and we want to take with it. And as you know, the nets could not retain the waste. You have the issue of the escapes. There. Once the business for any reason close or have an issue, a lot of the infrastructure of those projects remains on the sea, impacted the sea life there, and so that's why we are thinking that the world will move toward land-based, and in that sense our project is different from our land-based that you will see today, because our project is based in this flow-through project that with less impact in terms of when we return to the sea, and we think that that's a trend that the world goes, and we are trying to be aggressive in order to be developing this in an area who have a major prestige in terms of fisheries, of agriculture, life, and that's why we Nova Scotia and not Chile.
Okay, thank you. That helps. Are there any residences around that area that you are anticipating building your facility?
They are not, and I will ask Brian to help me afterwards here, but until we know, there are not any kind of business activity around. There are some people who lives there. We don't know what we're doing, what they do, but part of the application process is required to have that feedback. So we are raising that information. We are working with people in the area in order to raise that information. And I don't know if Brian, you can give us more flavor on that.
Yeah, for those, I mean, I'm sure you're mostly familiar with Chabot Point. It's quite rural. There's very few residents, and actually, the property adjacent to this, there might be 2 or 3 houses, but you got to remember that where the actual site will be, it's almost a kilometer from the road. It's right on the edge of the shore, and it goes downhill, so you actually won't see anything from the road as such when it's complete. You won't see a thing. It's that far out, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's a 40 hectares site, and we will plan to use no more than 6 hectares in the project.
Thank you, Patty. Trevor, you're next.
Yes, thank you for an excellent presentation. Jobs are always a concern of ours, certainly as a council, and we like economic development. Just one question. When you move the finished product out or products out, do you use any air freight, or do you do it all by tractor trailer, or how's that going to work? And I was really heartened to hear you say that we're well positioned vis-a-vis the United States to do this.
Our goal is to do it by truck or ships. But also what could be quite important for us looking forward is the opportunity of using electric kind of a move. I mean, if we want to go really concerning environmental going forward a few years, we're thinking in electrical trucks. I think we will really try to make this company like the example of environmental concern, looking for alternative in feeds who are the best in terms of the less use of wild fishes in order to feed the salmon. So we will try to do as much as possible in terms of less impacting environment. So that means we are also thinking in power generation to be used that being a renewable. So that should be the approach, but no air freight at all. That's out of the question.
Yeah. Yeah, just one comment. I mean, most of the salmon being consumed in North America coming from Chile is being flown almost 10,000 miles from the very south point of Chile. So our goal would be to reduce our carbon footprint on the salmon that is consumed in North America. So of course, avoiding air freight is like one of the top priorities.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? I see Nick, Daniel, and I don't know if Sherry, if you put up your hand. No.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the presentation. And you know, we're all excited to see new businesses come to Yarmouth, and we'd be excited to have you. But saying that, at the same time, we're going to field a lot of questions about. You said yourself, it's a rural part of Yarmouth, and the residents that live there will have concerns about noise pollution and light pollution and the overall traffic. Can you kind of just provide a little bit of detail on what you think may be coming in and out of that business throughout the day and hours of the day?
Okay, let me try go one by one. In terms of cars or trucks, it will be the people working on the site that we are thinking that it should be at least 35 on the site. So that should be the impact of those people going in and out. Then in terms of trucks, it will be, and Ignacio, please correct me here, 1 truck a day, more or less on going forward when the full plant is already built. That's when it will be 5,000 tons a year, and that should mean 1 truck by day, Ignacio? Is it? I don't know if Ignacio is still...
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, one truck a day.
Yes.
In terms of lights, no. I mean, we are not intensive. All these tanks are covered in order to protect the fishes, and there is not that many lights. And then the waste, we are working in order to be able to use that land for power generation. So we will see if that is possible in order to use those waste and be transferred to a site where it will be used for power generation. So we don't anticipate much impact, but obviously it's something that we will be talking with the local people, the community, is something that is not only required, and we fully agree on the concern of the Yarmouth authorities, but also at the province authorities. We don't anticipate much impact in that sense. And in terms, Brian mentioned before, from the road, the Chebok road, probably you will not be able to see any of the facility because it's like a kilometer from the road that it will be based. And there is no road to inside, so there is no. The houses are on the road and are on the east of Chebok Point, and we will be located on the west of Chebok Point.
And what
I don't know
about
if that answer your question, or if you have any other further question, please.
No, those are great answers. And just noise pollution as well. What do you know, is there machinery that runs through the night?
No, nothing relevant. Ignacio, in terms of noise of the equipment, you will know not much. you can address that. But maybe Ignacio will answer me in Spanish. And okay.
Only the pump work all day, but they are near of the water, so the sound is not a problem.
Yeah, actually, we have two facilities in Chile where we're pumping water out of the rivers, and they're like near to where people live. And actually, those pumps, since they're like very close to water, they make some noise, but it's not a noise that you could hear from anywhere near. I mean, they're two normal pumps, reasonably silent, so that shouldn't create an issue. And that's the only kind of equipment that is working. So it's pumping out water out of the ocean, and that would be basically it. We don't have any machineries or conveyors or anything like that.
So just one quick follow-up on that, Nick, just to let you know, like the suction will be underwater, of course, but the discharge is underwater as well. So you won't hear any water flowing or anything like that. And the pumps are in a building, so it should be very quiet.
Thank you.
One important thing, building on what Andres is saying, is these two facilities are located in a river that provides water for the consumption of one of the largest cities in the south of Chile, Osorno. They have been there for many years without any kind of incident, and that's the water that used for that in that city to be drink. So I mean, that's how we are convinced of how friendly is with the environment that we have our facilities in a river that provide the water for one of the major cities in Chile for many years without any kind of issue ever.
Good, Nick.
Thank you.
Okay, Daniel.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. I just got a couple questions, I guess. As you know, Southwest Nova is famous for their lobster. It's backbone of our community. So I understand the pumping process as far as bringing in and discharging. In the discharge, you were just saying, in the discharge going back into the ocean, is there any way that things like the lice or any kind of chemicals and stuff are going to be flowing through there? We're going to have a large. I think we're going to have some. I shouldn't say large. I think we will have some inquiries from industry on, how this is going to affect them. I know that area in the fall, not so much, but in the springtime, around Chebok Point is fished quite readily, So I would think you must have to set your pumps out a ways in order to combat the tides and things like that. So I'm just really wondering, with the discharge, the sucking up of the seawater is not so bad, but what's coming out, like, obviously with the nets, and you guys know it, there's escaped salmon, but there's also the issue of sea lice, things like that. The feeding, there's chemicals in the feed when they put it in the, is there any way that any of that stuff is going to be escaping through your discharge?
First, our major concern is what we bring into the tanks. I mean, that is our concern, because the problem normally would come from the ocean and not what we put in on our fishes, because that's our treasury and we will not do nothing in that sense. What we do in order to bring the water in, we pass through UVs. So in that sense, we are eliminating most of the potential issue that we can face, and particularly the sea lice, that is something that cannot enter in that sense. And in terms of chemicals, what we will do is we will be working with the top companies of the world and the most concerned in the environment in terms of the feed for our fishes. I mean, today you have always you can trace anything that you put into your fishes, and that's something that we will want to show not only to the authorities but for the consumers. I mean, the traceability of anything that we use on our fishes will be key. So we will have absolute concern of anything that we enter into those tanks, and then we have different filters in order to any of the waste not to go into the sea. And so we are taking all how do I say, probably we will continue improving over time, but it will be state of the art today in terms of what we will do, in terms of how we return the water to the ocean, the ways we would, you can see here, we have one.
There's probably regulations as far as testing that water that's got to go back out anyway, would there not be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just to keep track, to make sure things aren't going through. And so is there any possibilities of spillage from the plant? I know you're going to be on the shore, like as close to the ocean as possible. Is there any possibility of spillage from the plant itself? Like,
no,
everything is really self-contained. There's not a chance of.
Yeah, it's self-contained tanks, and it's the same thing about the discharges. What we have now in Chile, we're pumping water out of a pristine river, and we're returning that water into that pristine river. And as Christian was saying, that river is the main human water source for people living in a city, in one of a large city in southern Chile. So of course we take some samples and we make sure the water is returned pristine clean. I mean, again, unless there's like a tsunami, I would believe it's like the only chance we could get a spilling, but it's self-contained, massive, big tanks where you pump out and you return the water. I mean, with all the precautions, as Christian was saying, yeah.
Yeah, we have meshes on the side. The effluent have a previous treatment, the chamber where everything is taken out. We have two different meshes. And for us, that's essential. I mean, what we are looking for here is to bring the most friendly environmental fish to be consumed in North America. After the Alaskan ones that are from the river, we want to be the closest to that. So it's mandatory for us. It's what we are looking for. That's why we are, instead of trying to do something in China, no, we want to bring what we think it will be the future of aquaculture, the most friendly environmental fishes as possible.
So the stuff you do take out that isn't good for the environment, the actual waste, what happens to that?
To the waste?
Yes.
The idea is, first, what we are trying to do is to use that waste in order to be used to produce energy. We are initiating a conversation with an entity in Yarmouth that had been in this business, and Brian can address that better than me. And if not, we will have to put that under the regulation of the Canadian authorities. I mean, but we would prefer, obviously, to our waste to be used for power generation, but we are looking for alternative. And if not, we will have to put it aside, complying with all the regulations in Nova Scotia and Canada.
Yeah, because the power generation part of it is what intrigues me. How do you turn that into power generation?
Well, we've been negotiating that there was a biogas facility here in Clare, actually, that's been shut down for a few years ago. So we're looking at reviving that. That'd be the best option. And
Okay.
that could generate electricity right from the start of the project. So that is the preferred option would be to use it for biogas for generation.
Right on. Okay.
Because that actually manure is actually perfect for biogas, and that's what most of the sites, land-based sites, use the waste for throughout the world, actually.
Our goal, Daniel, is in any potential impact that our project can have to the environment to find a clever, a new solution. And also to be clear, because we also know that if we find that, it will be paid. We know that the consumers today are really concerned and they're paying a premium for something that really address all these environmental concerns. And what you will have here is a group of people who will eagerly look for a new alternative in order to create a more environmentally friendly product. And so that will be our challenge with our waste, with our feeds for our fishes, for anything in the way. So that's why if we can transport those fishes by boats to Boston or to trucks to Toronto, we want them to be with electrical power. I mean, that's our goal. I mean, and it's not only because we really believe ourselves in the main concern of the environment, that is also a true, but also it's because we think that we will receive a premium on the price for that.
So just one more question, if everyone doesn't mind. So when you harvest, is it all done within house, or will you be looking to use like maybe local fish processors to help you with some of getting it ready to go? And just to Trevor's point, and I think I know what he was getting at, I know you want to be very green, but we do have an airport that is just down the street from you. If it come to a point where you did need to fly something in or out. But I'll go back to the question. And then
We
I'll
have to fly. No, we will have to go by plane, or it will take forever. But let's see. First, regarding the plane, as I told you, I mean, we will try to avoid that. And in terms of the processing, we will try to do it on site in order not to move the fishes just harvest. But it's something that we will look. But the idea, what is very important, it will be done with people locally. If those is a new firm or people working with us, we will see. But probably we will do, and our initial idea is to do the first processing on the site for the taking the heads, and then we will do what we call hog. Is without the head and the gutters. That's a fish that we want to produce. So the initial processing probably will be done on site.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else? If not, I have one point I'd like to make. Actually, I've toured an operation like this. It's located in Central Burlington. It's called Sustainable Blue.
I know.
I visited that group. I think it was in 2012 when we first started talking about inland aquaculture, and I actually was lucky enough to get a tour of that facility on exactly how they took their water in, what they did to treat the water, all the computer controls that was used for the fish tanks from the smolts right up to the marketable fish, and what they actually did with their waste. And I think they were using the waste at that time, but they were looking for a different solution. The fish waste and the feed and all the other stuff. They were looking for a solution. They were using it in a landfill for compost, but they were looking for another solution, like you suggested, like methane gas and a bio facility. Like actually, one of them's up by Victoria's place. That's the one that you talked about on the 340 up in Clare. So I am quite familiar on how. I'm not exactly sure if you're from what I see in your plans, your operation looks to be a little bit bigger what they had at that time when I was down Sustainable Blue, but mind you, that was only a what do you call it? It was just their startup. It was their.
Yeah, no, I know them and I admire them. I mean, we have been following them, but in that sense, John, as more players are in the area, will be more feasible to do the power generation, because normally the problem is to get the content flow.
Yeah.
If we have more players, it will be more feasible to develop a project like that. So
Yeah,
that's
it was,
very
it was, their-
important.
it was their pilot is what the word I was looking for. It was their pilot facility and I'd seen their plans and what they had planned, but then I haven't really looked up to it. Actually, I was gonna go on the internet a little bit later on to see if they've followed through. Because they had plans to expand because they were working with the Department of Environment, like obviously, we deal with land zoning and bylaws and stuff like that, but it's also the province, the Federation of, the Department of Environment and the Canadian Federation of Fisheries would be regulating all that other stuff. So yeah, I've seen one in action and it was pretty impressive, even though it was a pilot. So I don't know everything about it, but I know enough to be dangerous. I don't know if that's good. So is there any other questions, staff? I don't see anyone else. So I guess on behalf of the Municipality District of Yarmouth, thank you very much. From my
The only
understanding,
thing that we have a communication problem working with the authority there in Yarmouth, and I want to reiterate, we are fully available for any kind of open conversation with the community. Andres and Oliver, who are now based in Florida, as soon as they can, they will be there, and the same from me here. So we are fully available for talking with the people, for talking with the community, and it's quite important for us. So that's the only last message that I want to put on the table. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
thank you very much for coming in and explaining that to the council. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Right.
Chair, if I could just add
Thank
one thing, it would be just to confirm for the record that the proponent has a briefing that is going before the Planning Advisory Committee this month. So the project is getting legs under it with respect to our legislative framework.
Thank you, Victoria.
I fully expected to see that come through the planning. Advisory, so.
Thank you.
I'm not a member, but I usually sit in and watch, so I'll be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the presentation from Royal Salmon. The next item on business is in camera,
you.
so I'm
We
entertaining.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd entertain a motion to go into camera. Moved by Daniel, seconded by Nick. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. All right, we'll wait for the recording to stop. This meeting is being recorded. All right, we'll move on to item number 7, new business. 7.1 Mariner Center Expansion Committee, revised terms of reference. So I'm assuming, Victoria, you have that. We also have that in our package.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as the work on an expansion to the Mariner Center has progressed and the work of the steering committee has changed, the CAOs recommended these draft revised terms of reference to the steering committee last week. And the steering committee made a unanimous motion to recommend them to councils. And so basically it builds out authority. It creates a mechanism to fund their work. It provides a little more detail around what the mandate of the steering committee is. It speaks to communications and it speaks to the support municipal councils will be required to give the steering committee.
What is the wishes of council? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Patty. Burke.
Assuming that we need a motion to approve the revised terms of reference.
Yes, we do.
So moved.
All right, a motion on the floor to approve the revised terms of reference, seconded by Councillor Sherry Hurlbert. Is there any discussion on that motion?
Question.
Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Item 7.2, Mariner Center Expansion Committee Project Contribution Resolution. You all have that in your package?
So, Mr. Chair, I think it's important to read the resolution into the record, and I'm happy to do that for council.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Whereas the Mariner Center is a regional asset providing recreational, economic, social, and health benefits to the town of Yarmouth, municipality of the District of Yarmouth, and municipality of the District of Argyle, collectively referred to as municipal units of Yarmouth County. Whereas the town and municipality of the District of Yarmouth are currently the co-owners of the Mariner Center, and that the municipality of the District of Argyle provides annual operating funding as well as discretional capital funding to support the operation of the Mariner Center. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County recognize the need for infrastructure replacement for recreation services delivered in the county in the area of aquatics and fitness. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County desire a regional approach to replace aquatic and fitness centers for the benefit of the county and its residents. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County also desire other expanded recreational services and will consider further investments if they meet our collective budget limitations. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County collectively agree that the Mariner Center is the ideal location for an expansion of this nature. Whereas the Mariner Center Management Authority has agreed and identified an expansion as its #1 strategic priority. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County have agreed to offer aquatic, fitness, and other services temporarily at the former YMCA location on Main Street for an anticipated 5-year time frame until the Mariner Center expansion is adequately funded. Whereas a funding application outlining all desired Mariner Center expansion options shall be submitted to the Government of Canada through the Green and Inclusive Community Buildings Program for consideration and financial support. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County have set an early budget for the purpose of the Green and Inclusive Building application of $30 million. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County shall also seek provincial funding for the expansion. Whereas the municipal units of Yarmouth County are committed to funding up to $12 million to cover their respective municipal share of the Mariner Center expansion as detailed below. And whereas the municipality of the District of Yarmouth is committed to public engagement to further inform our residents of the associated cost and benefit of the project. Now therefore be it resolved that the municipality of the District of Yarmouth agree to the proportion of operational and capital funding for the Mariner Center expansion be expressed via a written intermunicipal agreement referred to as an IMA, and shall be based on the following agreed upon cost sharing formula. Town of Yarmouth, 30.666%. Municipality of the District of Argyle, 30.666%. Municipality of the District of Yarmouth, 38.666%. The municipality of the District of Yarmouth shall stipulate through the IMA a mechanism to review the cost sharing based on negotiated set of circumstances. The municipality of the District of Yarmouth supports the funding application to the GICB funding program, and that the Mariner Center expansion is conditional on sufficient federal and provincial funding. That the funding formula as expressed in item 1 be the same funding formula for the funding of the aquatic and fitness services temporarily located at Mariners on Main. That the IMA provide for ownership shares for the municipalities of District of Argyle or their long-term commitment to the asset. That the municipality of the District of Yarmouth agrees to undertake a comprehensive public engagement process. And that the municipality of the District of Yarmouth commits to open, respectful, and transparent engagement with its regional partners and stakeholders through the implementation of the expansion project and in providing temporary services on Main Street. And the municipality of the District of Yarmouth is committed to a capital fundraising and sponsorship strategy, either as lead or as support and in collaboration with the community stakeholders engaged in this project.
What is the wishes of the council? Deputy Warden Trevor Cunningham.
Right, I'll move that is read into the record.
Moved by Deputy Warden. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Daniel Allen. Is there any discussion on the motion on the floor? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. We'll move on to item number 8. There is no in-camera recommendation, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Moved by Deputy Warden, seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you very much, council, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. That was great.